Hey, Field Hang 10, watch out for a new wave of episodes for Forgotten Cinema Season 9, Forgotten Summer.
Ugh, really, Butler? A theme season? Let me guess, we're gonna talk about films that were released in the coveted summer months that for some reason seem to be forgotten by audiences.
You know it, bro. What we liked about them or maybe didn't, but we'll always recommend people check them out. Maybe they'll find their own Forgotten Summer gem.
So check out Forgotten Summer wherever you get your podcast, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Hold on, gotta catch this wave.
We're sitting at desk in a recording booth.
This is Jerry Ordway, the guy who killed Superman. Whatever you do, don't listen to Pint of Comics.
Hi there, I'm Lloyd.
And I'm John, and we're from Pint of Comics. As we dive into your favorite pop culture topics, we may just
Occasionally
use language that could be considered
globaloney.
What? No, I mean...
Oh, foul.
Exactly. Offensive.
No doubt. Crass.
You bet your ass.
Sophisticated.
What? No. Anyways, you get it by now. It's mostly just
gutter talk.
And one more thing. Watch out for spoilers. Sometimes we drop them like trousers. You've been warned.
Listen in.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Pint of Comics. If I have done this correctly, because I don't usually say the episode number, it's 194. We're almost at 200. So I have Stu with me tonight. It's Stu from SWO Productions. I'm realizing too, Stu, that I'm so used to doing the Friday the 13th videos with you and all that stuff, and we recently did an episode of On the QT. I don't think you've been on the actual pod for a while.
I don't think I have, no. Yeah, we've done a lot of the videos. I can't recall the last episode of the show that you did that I was on.
Wow, that's sad. That's sad. So we'll make up for it today. Now, this is a twofold show here. I was supposed to record tonight with the Manster and Mike Field from Forgotten Entertainment. We were going to do another episode of On the QT and a Pint Triple T episode. And Manster, as opposed to me, has a really important job in real life. And he had one of those moments where his boss said, "This has to be done by Friday night," and he couldn't come over, so he had to put all of his thought process into getting the job done. Or Mr. McGillicuddy would get mad at him or fire him, whatever his boss's name is.
I don't understand jobs like that, man. I'm in the office. I work 7:30 to 4 o'clock, and that's it. When I'm out of the office, when 4 o'clock hits, I don't think about the work. I don't have to do anything extra. I'm done.
Yeah, Manster does not have that privilege, I guess. But I also am getting short on Pint of Comics episodes, so I said I still have to do something. So I put the Stu signal out and said, let's do a Rando episode like we did a couple weeks ago with Mike Butler from Forgotten Entertainment. And Joe Doherty, Professor Joe, the staff scientist here, he always gives me feedback on our episodes, and he said, I like that random episode. You should do more. So, Joe, we can pretend I'm doing it for you.
I was going to say, this episode is for Joe in particular.
Joe, this episode's for you. We're doing another random episode. We're going to cover a bunch of stuff. As we did on that last episode, we just talked about, I pulled out 5 more movie trailers. We're going to talk about that stuff. We'll talk about whether or not in a perfect world you would go see this in the theaters or not. And I got some comic book talk, and you're the right guy. You were on a long-lasting comic podcast, and you're currently running your own podcast that's kind of comic-centric. We'll get to that at the very end, but please go check out Stu's podcast. Let's start right with the movie stuff. Let's get right into the trailers, okay? Lloyd, myself, and Mike Butler talked about 5 trailers. We talked about, I think The Night House, The Ice Road, Gunpowder Milkshake, Old, and The Tomorrow War, right? These are 5 things that are coming out in the summer. And I said, let's do 5 more things that are coming out in the rest of 2021 that we didn't talk about on that. So let's start off, Stu. Now I'm going to ask you, we'll talk about the trailer. I want you to give the trailer a rating. Like you would a movie. Like, what did you think?
Trailers.
We're going to grade the trailer. All right.
Is this a 5 point?
Yeah, it's a 5 point.
All right.
Right?
I'm letterboxing these trailers.
I didn't want to do this in the last one, but Lloyd said, let's rate them. Like, I guess it's a good idea. And then not just rate the trailer, but like, is this a movie that you're thinking you will go see in the movie theaters? Let's subtract COVID from the equation. I know it's, not that bad anymore, vaccinations and all that. but people are still like, well, I don't know if I want to. Would you go see this in idyllic times? So let's start with. I'm going to start with this one. We'll take the theater right out of it. This is a Netflix thing, and this is very interesting to me because this one I had heard nothing of before reading about it. This is called Fear Street, okay? And this is actually a trilogy of movies that are coming out starting July 2nd on Netflix, and then every week there's another movie for 3 weeks, okay? Fear Street Part 1, 1994, comes out on July 2nd. July 9th, I'm assuming, would be Fear Street Part 2, 1978, and then the week after that would be Fear Street Part 3, 1666. And I guess this is based on a trilogy of novels by R.L. Stine, who's like the Goosebumps guy.
Yeah, the Goosebumps guy. I don't know if Fear Street is also aimed at kids, because these movies don't look like they are.
These movies certainly don't look like they're aimed towards kids. There appears to be some pretty mega violence. It seems like there's some language, some teenage sexuality, which is, let's just face it, let's be honest, the best sexuality. Hold on.
Now John goes to jail.
I think I just heard the FBI van. So Stu, watching the trailer for this, and the trailer shows kind of the storyline through and through all 3 movies. What did you think? What interested you? What turned you on? What turned you off?
Do you want me to grade it first and then give my thoughts, or
give your thoughts?
Okay.
Thoughts first, grade.
As far as a trailer goes, it looked, or I guess as far as the movie goes, because I have different thoughts on the trailer. As far as the movie goes, it looks pretty generic. It looks like a horror movie. I mean, there seems to be something with witches and things occurring through different times, and I guess it seems interesting enough, but nothing in the trailer really seemed to grab me like, oh, that's a good concept or anything. It just seems, kids are dying and other kids are going to band together and stop it. It didn't seem like as a movie there was that much there. As a trailer, I actually thought it was really good, though. I like this concept of 3 movies in 3 weeks releasing from Netflix because, that's not something you do in theaters. So that's a brand new way of releasing a movie. And I'm surprised it took Netflix so long to think of something like this. It's not like Universal Studios releases a 3-part movie over the course of 3 weeks. It's not like we got Avengers Endgame the week after Infinity War. So this is a really neat idea. It actually reminded me a bit of, there's a video game I played recently called the Dark Pictures Anthology's Little Hope. And it has to do with it has something to do with ancient times, and there's witches and how that affects things in the present day. And you jump through time a lot. It's not a very good game, actually. But
you sounded so enthusiastic about
it. It's the second or third in a series of games, and it's been the weakest one so far. Yeah, I do like the trailer, and because how it's coming out over Netflix over 3 weeks, I'll watch it, especially since my wife and I really like horror stuff. But just like as a story, it just seems like a really lame R.L. Stine Goosebumps book. It's, there's witches from the past, and they're making bad shit now. I don't know.
Yeah, because it seems like one of the things I did like about the trailer, which goes across all 3 movies, is this doesn't seem like a single genre horror movie. It seems like there's a supernatural element, there's a slasher element, and, kind of like a teenage slasher element as well.
Yeah. I could see that.
It looked interesting to me. I do agree with you. I think the trailer was well put together. I looked them up. These are all hour 45, hour 55-minute long movies. So it's not like, they're calling it a movie, but it's an hour long. This is going to be like 6 hours. So it's either going to be I guess either a pleasant surprise or a total waste of fucking 6 hours. It stars, let's see, hold on, let me check here. Jillian Jacobs from Community.
Okay, I was like 90% sure that was her, but the trailer never gives you a really good view of her.
Yeah, I know.
The first minute of the trailer, I was like, who is that lady? I know that lady. And then you finally get an image of her face, and I was like, is that Britta? Britta's in this?
Yes, she is. And Sadie Sink from Stranger Things is in this. And I think from what it seems like they're saying, I think she plays her as a younger girl. But what I thought was really interesting was as I watched this trailer, it also gave me a very large Stranger Things vibe, and maybe that's just because of, the kids are in the one segment. It seems like it's like about a group of kids, and I guess anything at this point in the last few years that might revolve around that gives you a Stranger Things vibe, just because
kids set in the past. Yeah.
It just resonates throughout. Directed by somebody named Leigh Janiak. I know nothing about Leigh Janiak, so
nope.
But I want credit where credit's due. Okay, what would you give the trailer, Stu?
I would give the trailer, if we're going out of 5, it was a 3.5 for a movie that I had never heard of until you said, hey, watch the trailer for this. It did get me interested. I really do like the concept, like I said. So I have Netflix. It doesn't cost me anything except time to watch these movies. So I'll watch these movies whenever they come out. So yeah, it's a 3.5. It did its job. I'm in now.
All right, I'm gonna go 3.75, a little higher, because I was kind of invested. I did think they do the classic thing where you start to learn too much in the trailer, oh, this is happening because there was it almost be cool.
They shouldn't have shown as much from the 1666 part as they did.
Absolutely.
The teaser stuff should have been from just 1994, a little bit from 78, and then maybe a shot or two of 1666 just to make you go like, wait, why is it in the past all of a sudden?
That would have been great if they showed nothing but the 94 stuff and then told you that the next movies were going to be in the 78 time frame and the 1666 time frame, because you could kind of in your head go along with what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be witchcraft or something. 1666, that's all that happened that year was witchcraft. It was all fucking witchcraft. And I will watch these too. I'm curious. I'm definitely very curious. All right. Next one, let's go over to Marvel. Had a couple Marvel trailers recently, but I went with the one that initially left me pretty cold, I've got to be honest, and that's the Eternals, which comes out on November 21st. Now, I don't know about you, Stu. Again, we've talked about it. We're both comic guys. I consider myself pretty well versed in comics. I'm not a genius when it comes to everything, but I will totally admit that the Eternals is a total blind spot.
I know nothing about the Eternals. They are relatives of Thanos. The creepy, rapey guy from the Avengers is one of them, and I don't even think he's in this movie. Star, what's his name? Star Fox? It's not Star Fox. Oh, is this Star Fox?
I know who you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, with the hair and the rapey guy,
Yeah. I just, I don't know. I know nothing about the Eternals. I know a few years ago, Neil Gaiman and John Romita Jr. did a miniseries, and I purchased it, and I never read it. I know that. I have it here somewhere in my room. So the trailer itself, this was directed by Chloe Zhao, which they never mentioned in the trailer. She just won the Academy Award.
Yeah, how do you not do that? Yeah.
You would think you'd want people to know, like, this person's making our movies. I don't know. The trailer, I liked it more watching it like a month after I saw it the first time, because it gave me a little bit more perspective on the fact that, like, we are in a different generation of Marvel movies now. Like, Steve Rogers is gone.
Yeah.
Tony Stark is gone. We have some overlaying characters, Doctor Strange and Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy. That's all going to be great still, I'm hoping. But we have to get used to the idea that Shang-Chi and all these other characters are coming, and they're going to be the next thing. The Eternals, it's just hard for me to watch a comic book trailer when I don't know, like, is that character's name Clockhumper? I don't know anything about it. You know what I mean? Like, I literally don't know. I went and looked up some stuff about who played what and what their powers are and everything, and they've been on Earth for millennia, and they won't interfere with major events. This would probably explain why they didn't step in during Endgame. They could have helped out a lot there.
Yeah, we didn't. It's kind of like the whole Captain Marvel thing. Like, Nick Fury just decided we didn't need her during the invasion of New York, and then we needed her for Thanos. But we didn't need the Eternals for Thanos, but we'll need the Eternals now.
So what did you think of the trailer?
I thought it was real bad. I don't want to sound hypocritical, because for how many years have we been complaining about movie trailers where, they've given too much away, or, now I know the whole movie. I mean, we just talked about it with Fear Street, where it's a good trailer, but did it tell us too much already? I conversely looked at this. I've seen this Eternals trailer 3 or 4 times now, and I'm just like, what happens in this movie?
Yeah, I agree.
I couldn't tell you a thing about this movie. They sit around and eat dinner. One guy says he could lead the Avengers now. They laugh at him. And Angelina Jolie makes like a lighty sword thing. I mean, it doesn't tell me anything about it. Like, there has to be a happy medium between spoiling the whole movie and not telling me anything at all, just showing me faces.
I agree. It feels like the, I guess, mission statement of this trailer was just to say the Eternals are epic. Like, it's big. This is going to be big. Like, the first scene is a giant spaceship coming out of the clouds during possibly, cave person times or, way back when. And then, there's this guy who is creating something out of the air, and Angelina Jolie has a lightsaber, and Salma Hayek is super hot still at like 55 years old. But other than that, there's not a lot like telling you anything about it.
Yeah, is there a bad guy? Like, what is the plot? Like, who are they going up against? It's just, here's some people. One of them runs fast.
Yeah, there's a Flash. Yeah. There's a lightsaber. That's all I know about the Eternals.
Yeah, that's it.
So what would you give the trailer?
Oh, boy. I mean, honestly, the Eternals is getting by 100% on it's part of the MCU, so I'm going to see it. No doubt. Right. I'll see it opening weekend, I'm sure, because it's part of the MCU, and Kevin Feige has given me no reason not to have the utmost faith in him. But yeah, just as a trailer, it's honestly like a 1. I just don't care about it.
It might have been a 1 when I first saw it. It's maybe a 2 now. There are a few MCU movies I did not see in the theaters. I didn't see Doctor Strange. I didn't see Far From Home, because if I just wasn't... Yeah, you have a weird love for that.
I love
movie.
Far From Home. It's great.
Oh man, it's so much. It's so much not as good as Homecoming was. In any case,
you're going to say it's so much not as good as Iron Man 3.
Well, it certainly isn't. It certainly is not. I don't know. I don't know. I think the only thing that might drive me to see this in the theaters is the fact that I'm curious to see what unfolds. Yeah, because I don't know. So yeah, I give it like a 2 for a trailer. And will it get me out to the theaters? Maybe. I'm not making any but it's not on that one.
But it's not the trailer that's getting you out. It's the legacy of the 23 movies that have come before it.
Yeah, I just, I'm
what disappoints me on the trailer is I was really hoping, I'm going to bastardize his last name. I apologize. I was really hoping Kumail Nanjiani was going to have a bigger role, but boy, he is barely in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was the actor that was really selling me on this movie because I really like him. I think he's funny. He apparently got super ripped for this role. And I was hoping that he'd be more important in it. But boy, based on the trailer, he's in it for like 2 seconds.
He is given less time than other people, but like there's several of them that don't get much focus. So I agree. I love him. I'm a big fan. If you've never watched it, Silicon Valley is a fantastic show. And he is on it. He was one of the main cast. It is incredible. Like, seriously, it's like 4 or 5 seasons, too. If you have the availability to watch it, it's like 10-episode seasons.
Nice.
Mike Judge, who did Office Space.
Oh, Mike Judge, yeah.
It's
Idiocracy, Office Space, Beavis and Butthead.
So fucking good. And he was so good in it. And he did. That dude got ripped. I saw him, like the picture of him, like when he tweeted out like what he looked like. And I mean, he's not a fat guy or anything, but you don't think of him as being like that.
No, nothing you've seen Kumail in, do you look at him and think like, yeah, I could see him getting jacked for a role?
Yeah, like absolutely ripped. Okay, let's go over to July 2nd, directed by Everardo Gout, just like the disease. Yeah, this one stars Josh Lucas, Ana de la Reguera, who I didn't recognize her by name, but when I saw the trailer, I realized she was one of the team in Army of the Dead, which the less said about that, the better.
Yeah.
But I think it's the 5th at this point, Purge movie, the Forever Purge. So I'll be honest. I saw the first Purge with Ethan Hawke, and I thought
you saw it with Ethan Hawke.
I went with him, actually. Yes.
That's very impressive. Were you at the premiere?
He paid.
What did he have to say about it?
He paid for my popcorn. He said. He said, I did this movie so I could pay for my kids' private school. No, I saw the first one and I was like, okay, interesting concept, because it is. And let's be honest, in America in the last like 3 or 4 years, we were as close to becoming a purge society as possible. Like if during the last 4 years, if all of a sudden one morning I woke up and there was like a news flash saying like January 19th every year is going to be Purge Day, I wouldn't even been fucking surprised at that point. But yeah, I thought the first one was interesting concept, but I didn't think it was great. I'll be honest, the next 2 that starred Frank Grillo, the character carries over. I don't remember, Anarchy, and the next one was, I can't remember, they all have like these, the Purge blank.
Yeah.
I really liked those 2. Because they were they tried to back off on the horror aspect and make it more like an action movie. And
okay.
I enjoyed those. I never saw the last one was like a prequel to all of it, and then there was
the
a TV
first
show.
Purge. Oh, there's
Yeah,
a Jesus. I didn't even know there was a TV show.
Oh yeah, it was like it got canceled after one season, but there was a TV show on, I don't know, Spike, or I don't know, Spike's still a channel, but it sounds like that's where they would play that. So this is the Forever Purge, and from the trailer, the idea is that the Purgers are now like, fuck it, we're not doing the one night thing anymore. We're just gonna fucking purge, and this is gonna be the end of the United States as you know it. This one here, the trailer. First of all, not going to get me out to the theaters. The trailer to me looked like every other Purge movie trailer.
It does, doesn't it? Like there's nothing that sets it aside. It feels like you could clip together scenes from every Purge movie and just call it a Purge trailer. And I'd be like, yeah, yep.
Yep, I agree. There's
people in a mask. They have a knife. I get it.
Exactly. You get that one shot of like someone in a new kind of mask.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's the new mask for this movie. I did think some of the, obviously the writers are writing it to our political times and what we just went through. And the idea in the trailer is that like Mexico is opening their borders for Americans, like to let them in for like one day. If you can get to Mexico, Mexico, who were painted as, the bad guys, we got to build a wall, they're opening their borders if you can get over there because of what's happening. I don't know. The trailer, whatever I would have rated any other Purge trailer. So I'd say like 2.5. Will I watch it in the theaters? No. I still never saw the first Purge, but would I watch this one on streaming or whatever? Sure, why not? It's probably got a couple cool kills. Matter of fact, in the trailer, at the end they show what's going to be probably one of the cool like comeuppance moments for a bad guy. I'm like, why the fuck would you do that?
Yeah, why do you give that away? Yeah.
Why did you give that away? Stu, what did you think?
I'll tell you what, you're a lot more purgy than I am. I gave up after the first one. I thought it was fine as a movie, but it was just one of those things where like I couldn't wrap my head around the concept. It was just like, this is too dumb. This doesn't, like, I get what you're saying where it's a neat concept, but it doesn't hold up to 3 seconds of introspection. Like if you think about the plot for 3 seconds, it doesn't make any sense. So I just couldn't get into it. I saw the first one in theaters with my wife and I never saw any purgy since that happened. And like you said, this trailer looks like the trailer to every single one of them. So I'm not going to see it. That said, the trailers are fine. I'd probably be along board with you. Like it's a 2.5. If this hadn't been a franchise I already don't care about, I might go see it because it does look fine. The new mask, like you said, it is a neat looking mask. It's a long ways from the first movie where they just had like plastic clown masks on their face. But yeah, I just don't like the concept. And it's one of those things where maybe it's smarter than I'm giving it credit for. Like maybe it has more to say politically, but to me, it just feels like it wants to have something to say, but doesn't really. It doesn't know how to say it. I kind of want them to make a Purge movie where it's just about like if the Purge was real, if they actually came out with a Purge, I would just go steal a bunch of potato chips. That's all I want. I don't want to murder anybody. Just give me the low rent Purge where like somebody just goes around all day and parks in handicap spots.
Wait. So if there was a Purge, you would risk life and limb to go out to like loot potato chips?
All crime is legal. It's not just murder is legal, just breaking and entering. All crime is legal. I want some potato chips. I'm hungry.
No, but what I'm saying is you could lock yourself in your house instead of going out there while there's people raping and murdering everybody. And you're going to go out and risk the rape and murder to get some like what? Okay, Sue, what chip in your fandom? What potato chip or chip like snack is worth going out of the house to steal enough to have like a lifetime or a year's supply of during a purge?
Well, since you said a chip like snack, because potato chips are just a generic thing. I like tortilla chips, but chip like snack, white cheddar Cheez-Its. I could do with a couple free boxes of those.
Okay. All right.
I think here in Upper Mifflington, I don't know how much purging there would be. I might be able to get in and out of the Dollar General. It's 2 blocks away.
2 blocks down, Dollar General. What if you ended up there and they only had like regular Cheez-Its? Are you taking them anyway?
Regular Cheez-Its are all right. We'll see if they have any Slim Jims. It'll be fine. I'll get something very low rent purging. I would park in the handicap spot. I'd be like, fuck it. It's purge time. Can't give me a ticket.
Purge o'clock, bitch. Stu's getting his fucking Slim Jims. All right. So that's the Purge. The Forever Purge. Let's hope it's probably the last Purge. This is one that I remember seeing the trailer for prior to COVID. August. Yeah, this was supposed to have come out last year. August 13th, directed by Sean Levy. who did like the Night of the Museum movies, and he's actually like an executive producer on Stranger Things. Ryan Reynolds, Joe Keery from Stranger Things as well, and Taika Waititi, Free Guy. All right, so this is Ryan Reynolds plays one of the computer-controlled, randos that walks around in a massively online game, and essentially he gains sentience and begins to interact with players and changes everything. Okay, Stu, you're a video game player. Does that endear you to this type of movie, or does Ryan Reynolds endear you to this type of movie, or do you just see this and go, eh?
It's an interesting concept. I kind of like the idea. I don't know if the concept is movie worthy. And in a world where we've already had stuff like Wreck-It Ralph and the Lego movie, this doesn't feel like as much of a brand new idea as it might have like 10 years ago. It does have Ryan Reynolds, and God bless Ryan Reynolds. I feel like for the last 5 or 6 years, he's realized he's as hot as he's ever going to get. And so he has taken every paycheck that comes his way. I can't imagine there's any role that Ryan Reynolds has said no to in the last 6 years, because like, God, he's done this 6 Underground. He's done this. I mean, he's done all the Deadpool stuff. It just feels like the Hitman's bodyguard, the Hitman's wife's bodyguard, who knows who's bodyguard next. I mean, it just feels like, boy, Ryan Reynolds is just like, hey, I'm in my prime. Give me all of the money right now. Because if this gravy train ends someday, who knows if it will or won't. You can never count on anything forever. You may be Tom Cruise, you may not. But he's going to get all his money right now while he can. And does it feel a lot like he's playing the same thing over and over again? Possibly. Is there that much of a difference between this character and Detective Pikachu and 6 Underground guy and the Hitman's bodyguard? They all seem like Ryan Reynolds playing himself, but I honestly don't think I've gotten sick of Ryan Reynolds playing himself yet. So I'll see this because of him and because of Taika Waititi.
All right. Yeah. I don't know if I'll go see this in the theater. I would say the trailer is like maybe a 3.5. It's, okay. It interests me in the concept more than I would think if I just read it. And again, like you said, Ryan Reynolds has been playing himself for a long time. I almost think that I've always felt like Ryan Reynolds is playing Jim Carrey circa Ace Ventura, but like lowered forever. He seems like he's almost like, I always felt like Ryan Reynolds is kind of doing a lighthearted Jim Carrey imitation almost. Like that's his personality, but it works for him. He's obviously,
he is a charming fucking dude, man.
Yeah.
Like you can just keep playing that over and over again, but when you're that good, and I genuinely wonder how much of his movies are improv and ad-libbing, because again, I'll talk about the Hitman's Bodyguard. I watched that movie and was surprised by how great it was, but you just got a feeling watching that movie that 90% of the script was just Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds riff off each other for 5 minutes.
Now, see, I haven't seen that, and I'd forgotten about that one, but I have had friends tell me that one's really good. But everything I'm seeing about the sequel is like, what the fuck? Like, people are not liking that.
Yeah, I've heard the sequel, the same thing. I've heard bad things online and everything.
This is something I'll definitely check out when it's streaming. And Taika Waititi is great.
Yes.
And this is their second movie together, because everybody forgets, including me, that Taika Waititi was Ryan Reynolds' roommate in Green Lantern as well. He played
he
played Hal Jordan's roommate, but that was like 2007, so it was well before Taika became a name with What We Do in the Shadows, and well before all that stuff. So, all right, let's get to the last one. I'm going to be honest; this might get some cross looks from other people. August 6th, this one comes out in the theaters and on HBO Max. The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn. We all know James Gunn said some stuff on Twitter way long ago. Disney decided very stupidly they had to fire him.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime,
sorry, my cat's having an adventure.
That's okay. That was interesting sound. All right,
he is refusing to eat his Crunchies lately, so he's just bitching at me. He wants different food.
Eat your Crunchies, cat. It's never gonna get better than that. All right, so James Gunn gets fired by Disney over some stupid tweets. Disney lets him go long enough that he signs up at the competition, and they kind of screw themselves in the end, because now Guardians of the Galaxy is not going to come out for another like 2 years.
Yeah,
because he went to go work on this for 2 years. But I've got to admit, I don't know how you feel, Stu. I don't know if we've ever discussed this before. I don't hate Suicide Squad or whatever it was called. I don't love it, but I don't hate that movie. It's got a ton of problems. It's, the Joker stuff. It's not a great plot, but I like the Suicide Squad in the comics, and I rooted for that movie. It didn't give me everything I wanted. I will fully admit, with James Gunn doing this, and with it being DC, and DC is like, at this point, they're like the little train that you just want to see do well.
Keep trying, DC Comics.
I'm rooting for this movie. I like the trailer and I dislike the trailer, and I'll tell you what I like and what I dislike about it. I like the characters we're seeing. I like the idea that that 80% of these people aren't going to make it 10 minutes into the movie, right?
Yeah.
You've got Nathan Fillion, and you've got Pete Davidson, and you've got all these, Michael Rooker, and you've got all these, named stars, but they're not all going to be throughout this whole thing. What I don't like about this trailer is it's become a James Gunn thing now. Like, I hope it's not throughout the whole movie. Dirty Work by Steely Dan in the trailer. And that's a song from the 70s that has a very 70s-ish vibe, which is what he did with the Guardians movies to great effect. But like, I kind of wish he doesn't copy that in this thing.
Or if I remember correctly, the first Suicide Squad did the same thing. The first Suicide Squad was all old 70s songs too, wasn't it?
Oh, see, I don't remember that. That's probably part of the movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like the original Suicide Squad has like Fortunate Son and a bunch of other songs of that time. So I think like if you're bringing in James Gunn and you're doing the Suicide Squad, you already have that legacy coming from two directions. So
okay, all right, well that's fair. Obviously, it seems like they're on some kind of mission that we don't know much about. Starro the Conqueror shows up, and we get characters like John Cena, Peacemaker, an old Charlton character who is, I think this is a cool idea too. When the movie comes out fairly shortly thereafter, there's going to be a TV series that James Gunn is producing based on that character. What is Idris Elba, who everybody thought initially was just taking over as Deadshot.
Deadshot, yeah.
He's Bloodpool or Bloodshot or Bloodpool or Bloodsport. I looked him up. He's like a very minor Superman villain from the John Byrne days. But then you got like that great character actor David Dalshamian playing Polka Dot Man. It just seems like it could be weird enough to work. And I'm rooting for it. Matter of fact, this movie is on HBO Max, and through COVID, even in non-COVID times, if you said to me, John, you could stay home and watch this for something you already paid for, or go to the theaters, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to just stay home and watch it. This one I actually might go to the theaters to see, just to kind of get the big screen experience. I'd give the trailer probably like a 3.75. It definitely piqued my interest. But Stu, I have a feeling you're going to go the opposite way, but let's see. What did you think?
No, actually, I'm actually on board with everything you said. The first Suicide Squad movie, I didn't think it was terrible, and maybe that's because it came in the wake of Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, where I just thought it was better than those, so it just seemed like a vast improvement to me. But it was fun, it was dumb, it didn't try too hard. Like, if the movie thought it was better than it was, I would have a problem with it. But I mean, it was fine. It did what it wanted to do. And you can't really have a problem with that. It had Margot Robbie goofing off as Harley Quinn. Will Smith is pretty much great 99% of the time, and he was great in that. There certainly wasn't any problem with it. It was just kind of a dumb story, and it got worse as it went on. The resolution wasn't that impressive.
You're right. It was a dumb story, and it felt like a really poorly edited movie, as in like,
yeah.
They obviously took so much of Jared Leto out. A couple years ago, we went to Lloyd and I and Lou went to Rhode Island Comic Con, and I can't remember the actor's name, but the Joker has his henchman in the movie, the big guy, who like is essentially, he's in a suit and he's kind of like, and he was there signing autographs. He used to be on True Blood as well. I can't think of his fucking name, Jim something. I heard him talking to somebody, and this was like 4 months after the movie came out. This was the same year. And I heard him talking to a fan, and the fan had said something about, like, I liked it, but all the Joker stuff. And he was like, there was so much more with Jared that like never got put in the movie. And hopefully someday there will be a director's cut or something.
Yeah. They've been pushing that. Yeah.
Which I don't think I don't want to say it. I don't think we'll ever see it because now we're on the cusp of seeing a Schumacher cut of Batman Forever, which we did a Batman Forever episode at the end of last year, And Mike Butler, who did the show with us, brought that up, that was a thing that's out there, which I never knew about. And now here we are 6 months later, and it's creeping towards a reality. And I hate to say it, as long as it's not 4 hours long, I'll watch it, because if you tell me that maybe there's a darker version of that piece of shit movie that's actually better, I'd like to see it. But in any case, I don't think we're going to see this Suicide Squad thing anytime soon. How do you feel about movies like this where they're not clear on whether it's actually a sequel or a reboot, yet they use some of the same actors? Like, I just wish they would just say, because early on they kind of made it a point to kind of say this is a start over, you know?
Yeah. It
Why?
doesn't seem to be. Nothing in the trailer implies that the first movie didn't happen. Flag and Harley Quinn already know each other. Amanda Waller's already there. We're not getting a new explanation on her. I mean, you get the explanation over again of like, hey, we put a bomb in your skull, but that's for the new characters. Like, that's for the Michael Rooker scene. Nothing about this screams that the first movie didn't happen. I don't know. I just bought it as a sequel.
Yeah, me too. I get irritated when something doesn't work, and instead of just saying, okay, let's build on what we did, you know, and like just go and do the second one. And also, how do you feel about like this like pretty new trend we have going back to maybe like the 2011 The Thing of just renaming fucking movies? Like, okay, so this one is a little different. The last one was Suicide Squad. This one is The Suicide Squad. Why don't you, even if you're not going to call it Suicide Squad 2 and you don't want to use that, just call it Suicide Squad Return or Suicide Squad, you know, We're Back. You know, like what?
They really missed an opportunity to just call it 2 Suicide, 2 Squad. Yeah, or Suicide Squad 2, The Streets.
But like, I got to call Halloween 2018 forever. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. Are you a fan of like them doing that?
No, that's terrible. To me, that's as bad as in comic books. Whenever you tell somebody like, oh, have you ever read Amazing Spider-Man #1? Well, which fucking one?
Yeah.
Like Volume 1, Volume 7, any of the ones in between. Just call your movie Suicide Squad versus The Suicide Squad. Come on. That doesn't help me if I'm trying to rate it on Letterboxd. Articles don't count for anything. That doesn't give it a new name. It's like Predator versus The Predator. No, it's terrible. Like, even if you don't want to say it's part 2, give it like the subtitle, Suicide Squad, subtitle, John fucking Cena's here now.
Beach full of dicks or whatever he says in the trailer.
James Gunn, I'm here for James Gunn. John Cena, I'm here for John Cena. So I'm in for it. As a trailer, I think it's really good. I'd give it like a 4 because going into the movie a little lukewarm. I like the people involved, but who knows? And then you watch the trailer and they're obviously taking inspiration for King Shark from the Harley Quinn cartoon. And I love that cartoon. So yeah, it looks really good.
I heard about that cartoon. I heard very recently that Batman does not eat pussy.
Oh, even my wife talks about it. Even my wife's like, is this a thing that's happening? Did DC say Batman can't go down? I was like, that's what DC said, man.
I don't even like if DC said Batman didn't go down, it's one thing, but
heroes don't go down.
Their company line is that heroes don't do that. It's like, oh my Lord.
Yeah, like, I'm sure they're mega pissed at the guy behind Harley Quinn who let that quote out. But boy, like, how do you even let those words escape your lips?
How many, like, in all honesty, that night when that came out and that was like pretty big Twitter news, how many like firefighters and policemen and EMTs and like military men, like, were going to eat their girlfriends or wives' boxes and then couldn't do it because they're like, apparently that's not something I could do.
Somebody somewhere has a "What would Batman do" tattoo, and he's just like, well, shit.
Did you see Zack Snyder posted?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good picture too.
Yeah.
And, I don't know who drew that, but it looks like somebody, a pro drew that, and that's pretty funny. If you haven't seen it, go on Twitter, check out Zack Snyder, and there's basically a very well drawn. It's comic worthy. Picture of Catwoman laying on like on her back,
on
the top of a building, and Batman just ripping her snatch apart with his mouth.
Yeah, it's like the perspective's from behind her head, so you see it down and you just see like the cow right above, like, you know, her pelvis. And
yeah,
I wish Zack Snyder made better movies, man, because he seems like such a rootable guy.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He seems like such an awesome dude who's had some really shitty things happen. It's like, man, I want to cheer for you. Just make better movies, guy.
I really want an Army of the Dead to like evict all of my negative feelings about the Justice League cut, and it did not.
It did not. No.
That movie that movie. We don't do on here. We don't do generally new movie reviews. But after I saw that, I thought, well, maybe I'll get like Stu, and if Lloyd wants to do it, and we'll do like a live stream, and we'll review Army of the Dead. And then I thought about it more, and I went, no, no, I don't want to talk about that movie anymore, and I have to. Let's shift gears into comics. And Stu, here's what I did. Now,
I was going to say, you gave me no prep for this part of the show. It's just like,
Nope.
hey, we're going to talk about some things. Just follow my lead. I was like,
Nope.
all right, at least I knew the trailers to watch.
I'm slipping this one in raw. Are you still going to the comic shop on a semi-regular and or regular basis?
No, I still go a lot to look around, but I have literally no books that I am currently buying. I completely abandoned both Marvel and DC within the last year, and I am pretty much back into just buying manga, and I've just been doing that at Barnes & Noble. I just go, I look at anything that has a volume 1 that seems to have less than like 30 total volumes out, because I don't want to spend that much money and that much time. And if it looks like it's a good volume 1, I'll look at that. But I know people are like, oh, there's so many good indie books out there. And I'm positive there are, but they're hard to find. They're not hard to find. They're easy to find, but it's hard to find recommendations on what to read because everybody's tastes are so varied. And I'm just tired of Marvel and DC. So I'm just kind of out. I still like going to the comic shop. I'll look at the pop vinyls. I'll look at the back issues. But yeah, I'm not buying anything recently.
All right. Do you want to shout out a local Pittsburgh comic shop that you love?
Yeah, there are 2 really, really good ones that I go to frequently. At the waterfront, there's a local chain called New Dimensions. There's a couple of New Dimensions in the area. The one closest to me is at the waterfront. Yeah, Pittsburgh. We have a waterfront, just right on the ocean here. And in Monroeville, there's Phantom of the Attic, which is, I could walk there from my job. It would take 10 minutes. It's a really nice store there in Monroeville.
All right. Pittsburgh comic shops for all of you that might be out in the Pittsburgh area. All right. So you just said that you're not buying comics. You're kind of sick of Marvel and DC. So this is going to be interesting. Put yourself back in the mindset that you were still semi-interested, because what I did was, we're in June right now. We're heading into July. So I went through and I picked out, I think, 5 titles that are number 1 from Marvel. I did Marvel only, that are coming out in July. I'm going to tell you what it's about. And then I just want you to give me your thoughts on it. That's it. Like, does this interest you? Would this be a book you would ever read? So the first one is from Kare Andrews. He is the writer, artist, and colorer. He usually does everything. He did Iron Fist, The Living Weapon, a couple years ago for Marvel, and he does a bunch of indie stuff. It's called Amazing Fantasy, and it's a mini series, 1 through 5, obviously going with the classic Marvel title. The idea behind this one is Red Room Black Widow, so a younger Black Widow, World War II era Captain America, teenage Spider-Man. That's all they give you. I don't know if that's all there is. Wake up on a remote island, have no clue what's happening. Leaving it right there for that. 5 issues. You have different characters in not as familiar versions as we have now. Waking up and essentially, I guess through the 5 issues, having to figure out what's going on. Stu, does that interest you? Well, first of all, before we get into that, how do you feel about miniseries, and how do you feel about so-called event series?
Miniseries are fine. Event series are fine. Is it? I would assume it's not canon because of the way you described it. It's going to be like an out of continuity story or a other universe, alternate reality versions of these characters. Miniseries are probably the way to go at this point because I love continuity in comics, but nobody else in the world seems to, including Marvel and DC, because they don't pay attention to anything. So we might as well just have miniseries nowadays. Might as well just be like Hellboy. Hellboy never just went 1 to issue 100. It was this story 1 to 4, that story 1 to 3. Yeah, you might as well just do that. You didn't have me at first when you were just Red Room, Black Widow, World War II era Captain America. It's like, all right, I don't want to read stories about those characters. But then you throw in a teenage era Spider-Man, and all 3 of these characters, they're not in their box, so to speak. They wake up on an island and they're just all together and nobody knows why. Okay, that sounds more interesting. Like if you were just going to tell me like this is stories about Black Widow from her Red Room days, I don't care. But if she's just paired up with these other characters and doesn't know why, that sounds interesting. I could get that. I could get into that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to pick it up per se, but I would read it. I would definitely read it. I think I didn't write it down, but I think these are $4.99 an issue.
Yeah,
so it's like
that's the problem.
Yeah,
I mean, that's as much of my problem with Marvel and DC as anything else, and I could make an entire show on the price of comics. But yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't help out. I sometimes think of miniseries too, especially in the fact that the life I'm in right now, where I'm surrounded by long boxes and I have no more room, is if I do want to read a miniseries, buy the single issues, or do I wait for a trade to come out and eventually find it down the road at a show for, it's let's say it comes out at $24.99 and then it's like $12 at a show. Yeah, it's that thought process where you just have to be like, I don't need this right away. I just can pick this up whenever I want. All right, so that's the first one.
Trades look good on a bookshelf. I'm kind of tired of boxes of comic books of floppy issues. I like the trades on the bookshelf theory. That works a lot better.
So the next one, written by a guy named Jed McKay and drawn by Alessandro Cappuccio. This is a new number one for a character that I always, I do joke about it, but I truly have never liked the character. I don't get the character. Moon Knight.
Okay.
Where are you with Moon Knight, Stu?
Barely anywhere. Was it? And boy, this is re-showing my thing. I've read it. Was it Warren Ellis several years ago that kind of rebooted him and he was wearing the suit?
Yes.
I read the first trade of that, and it was good. It was good. It didn't seem like it was leading anywhere. The first trade literally was 6 issues, and it was like 6 completely different stories. So I never got into it to see if it was building to one big crescendo or something. But as a character, I mean, that is literally all the Moon Knight I've ever read.
Yeah, I've read a couple things. I think, I don't know, like 10, 12 years ago, David Finch came out and did a run on it, and I tried it, and I don't know. It's a character that does not connect to me. I know people love him from early on, like Bill Sienkiewicz did stuff with him, and he's a great artist and a great creator. So many people are so excited that like Oscar Isaac is playing him for a show. I could care less because it's a character that doesn't touch me in any way. And
his story seems weird. His story seems more like, I don't know how you make an ongoing series out of this character. His story feels like a movie. Like you have a guy, he's crazy, he has different personalities, and then, I don't know, you get to the end and it's just Shutter Island's ending. I don't know. Yeah. But it seems like, that's Moon Knight to me. Like, I don't know how you write 30 issues of Moon Knight.
Yeah, this is what I wrote down for my description when of the first issue. The description was long plus full of Moon Knight bullshit. Mark Spector, Mr. Knight, Khonshu. These are all like, what do you want to call it? Like punch words that I know about Moon Knight. Like I know Mark Spector is Moon Knight. I know the Fist of Khonshu. I think Mr. Knight might be that version in the suit. I don't know nothing about any of that shit. So how do you feel about now? Okay, I get it. I get that Marvel has a strategy where every couple of years, like you said before, we'll have a new Amazing Spider-Man #1, right? We're going to do that. We're going to have a new Thor #1. We're going to have a new Captain America #1. And those I don't mind. Well, I don't like it, but I understand the idea behind it is that book was never going away. It's just, we're going to renumber it and rebrand it a little bit to get people interested in it again. How do you feel about these characters like Moon Knight and let's say, like in DC, like Hawkman or Plastic Man, that they just keep on fucking trying, and then you get like 12 issues out and it gets fucking canceled. And then 3 years later, now that the next greatest creator is going to come back and he's bringing Moon Knight back again. At what point do you just say as an editor, Moon Knight never gets his own fucking book again? You could use him in Avengers from like Upper Mifflington. You could use him in, any book you want, but we're not fucking doing this again.
You know what? It's weird because my idea is pretty much the exact opposite. And this is another thing. It's like with the price of comics, I could go into an entire show just about this. But my idea is that comics, just quit making comics. Just quit making physical fucking comic books. They cost too much. They're not worth the price. Just make comic books an online distribution model. Make comic books Netflix. Everything comes out when it comes out. I get it right away. I pay a subscription fee. I get all the books. And I think one of the reasons that that's a good idea is you could have, instead of having 50 books and all your sales are being kept afloat by Batman and Spider-Man, make 100 some books. Just make a book for every character. And I know that seems dumb, and I know people say a lot of the problems with comics nowadays is the quality, but my idea is if you can take more chances, if you can take more of these characters and just give them a book and see how they do. Somebody somewhere has a really good idea for a Werewolf by Night ongoing series. Just come out with it, Marvel. Like, you know me. I mean, give me a job, Marvel. I will give you 12 fucking issues of a Jubilee book, and it'll be great. I promise. No, it won't. Nobody will like it but me, but I'll be happy with it. Like, every character is somebody's favorite character, right? And I say that as somebody who really likes Kyle Rayner, who really likes Jubilee, who likes Darkhawk. Like, I know there are these low-rent second-tier characters that I'm perpetually disappointed in. I can't find good books featuring them. So I'm fine with it. There are obviously people who love Moon Knight. There are obviously people who love Werewolf by Night. Just, I feel bad for fans of these characters who just can't get books with them. So yeah, I'm fine. Give these characters tries. At some point, you know, it might click. Brian Michael Bendis did a Young Justice book. It only lasted 20 issues, and I was pissed off when they canceled it. It wasn't a great book, but I love the characters. Christina Strain did a Generation X book. It lasted 12 or 13 issues, and then it got canceled. I mean, I still really like the run. Just, I wish these things weren't so dependent on selling physical copies that, you know, you get 10 or 20 issues in and the company says, well, we're losing money printing this. We're not going to do it anymore. That's my big rant. I said, I could do a whole thing about that, but
I think we have a show for the future to talk about there. But no, okay, all right. I'm with you on a lot of stuff. I have that collector's mentality, which I know is a sickness. So there's that part of me that knows, like, why do I need all these things? And I shouldn't have all these things, or, you know, not that I shouldn't, but like, you know, why are comic books so important to people to have as a physical item, you know? And I think eventually it's going to end, but it hasn't ended yet. All right, here's the next one. Now, this one confuses me because I thought we just rebooted all this shit like 2 years ago. In July, Jerry Duggan, and this is one of my favorite artist names for Marvel, Pepe Larraz. I just like that.
Okay, yeah.
X-Men #1. I thought
they just did a new X-Men. This is the one with Lara and Polaris.
Well, the team on this one, I'll read off the team. So it's the heroes of Krakoa have to save the planet. So I know Jonathan Hickman took over the whole thing a couple years ago, and I go to BoomTube Comics in Southington, Connecticut, and all the collectors were like going nuts trying to find all these #1s and these 2 mini House of 10 and Power of X and all these mini series, and because this was going to be the template for X-Men going forward. That's why I'm confused as, is Jonathan Hickman not on these books anymore? Because this is 2 years later, but the idea was that all the mutants moved to Krakoa. That's all I know about it, but apparently they're still there. Now, this book is X-Men #1, and it is Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Sunfire, Rogue, Polaris, Wolverine. And this is coming from a guy who loves Wolverine, but why the fuck can't there be a team without him on it? And then the only character I don't know.
It's not him. That's what I said. It's Lara. It's X-23 Wolverine. It's not Logan.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. All right. So So Wolverine, X-23. And then I don't know who this character is. Sync? Who's Sync?
Oh, from Generation X in the 90s. The kid whose power was that he could duplicate any other mutants who were around his power.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, he died in like issue 60 something of Generation X, but you know, death especially in the X books means nothing anymore.
When Hickman took over, and I know you know, obviously a Jubilee fan, so you have an affinity for X-Men. Did you check any of that out? Was that interesting to you? How did you feel about it?
Yeah, so I can actually say, I said earlier, I got all the way off Marvel, and the problem I was having with Marvel was when Hickman rebooted the X-Men, I love the concept. I love the idea that mutants have said, like, fuck this shit, we're going to go over here and be our own country. Really great concept. I don't like Jonathan Hickman. He's never written anything that I have enjoyed. So I wasn't that excited for it to be him, but it was a good concept. And there were a few books. There was Marauders, which featured Emma Frost, Kitty Pryde, some others. There was Excalibur, which was the book Jubilee was in, with also Gambit, Rogue, Betsy Braddock. And there was X Factor, which was written by Leah Williams, who I really liked. And I was reading those 3 books. And then you got into the teens, and they did a big crossover for X of Swords. And I just said, like, that's it. I'm out. I'm not doing this X-Men. Like, there are 3 books out of the, like, dozen of X books that you're writing right now that I want to read. And every couple of months, I'm not going to, get just the couple issues of a storyline because I'm not buying the entire thing. And so that was the last thing that pissed me off with Marvel was like, look, I just want to read what Kitty Pryde and Jubilee are up to. I don't care about all the other X books. And I don't care about what Jonathan Hickman is doing. So yeah, it's a good concept. Don't like Hickman. I don't understand because there definitely was a book called X-Men that Hickman himself was writing with Leno Francis Yu, which, no offense to either guy. I'm sure they're both wonderful people. Jonathan Hickman and Leno Francis Yu, you might as well call that book Stu. You're not going to fucking buy this.
Yeah, Leno Francis Yu, I don't hate him, but he does have a very particular style, and it works for me sometimes, and sometimes it does not. I know I've read, like, he did years ago, he did a Superman origin story that I actually liked. I think Mark Waid might have written it. And I liked it on that. But I know what you're saying. I've seen him do other stuff and Jonathan Hickman, I feel kind of the same way. I read his Avengers, which I did like. I read his Fantastic Four, which I thought was okay. I feel like he tries to be the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's one of those writers that, like, tries to be the smartest guy in the room. And high concept.
I have ideas that's going to take me 10 years to develop, and it doesn't do anything for me.
His Avengers run with where Avengers and New Avengers were kind of in sync, and there was this world event, and it all led up to Infinite. Was it Infinite or Infinity? But like literally, you had to read
Infinity. I think
you kind of had to read both titles, back and forth, and I get irritated when books do that. All right, so I'm not X-Men #1. I have no interest.
I just, like I said, I wish the X books would let me in, but they don't want to because they don't want you to just read a couple X books. They want you to read the entire line, and I'm not going to do it. So
yeah. All right, this one here is more geared towards me and any Aliens fans out there, but Aliens is now over at Marvel. I'm reading the new series. It's been pretty good, actually. Lloyd and I did a show where we talked about the first issue. It left me kind of cold. But 2 and 3 kind of improved that for me. I have not read 4 yet. There's a book, a one-shot coming out called Aliens Aftermath, written by Benjamin Percy and drawn by Dave Wachter. Benjamin Percy, I think, is currently writing the Logan Wolverine series.
Oh, okay.
This is coming out. This is the 35th anniversary year of Aliens. And the idea on this one, it's a one-shot, is a team of investigative journalists head to LV-426, Acheron, which is the planet that Aliens and Alien took place on, and go to Hadley's Hope, which was the colony that gets destroyed that Newt was from. And they go there to try to dig up, because the company Weyland-Yutani, they nuked it and everything. So these people go back, I guess it's supposed to be a couple years later, and dig up stuff that, might have happened there. And of course, that there's going to be some aliens on the fucking planet. That one, for me personally, I don't think Stu's a huge Aliens fan. For me personally, that interests me. And especially, they use a word I like in comics a lot: one shot. Like, I don't have any commitment other than I might spend $2 more for 40 pages. But like, if it's good, I could read it, like put it in with my books, and I'm out. I'm out. Yeah, one shot is a good thing. Now, I put this one down, Stu, because I wanted to ask you about the type of book this is. So, Aaron Cooter, writer, artist, and colorer on this thing, is doing Thor Annual #1. All right. Now it's 40 pages, and the plot in this one is Thor and the leaders of the 10 realms gather for a World Tree celebration. All right. Now, the reason I bring this up is that I wanted to get your feeling on annuals. Annuals went away a long time ago for quite a while and have been back for like the last 10 or 12 years. But there was a good 10-year period where they were not doing them. When I was a kid, annuals were a big thing. They were just usually an extra story, right? But like in this one here, you get the 5th part of 8 of a book called Infinite Fury in the back. So they're doing a thing where if you want to get this Infinite Fury story across, get it fully, you have to buy all these annuals. They've done this, Marvel's done this over the last couple of years, where I end up with an annual of a character I read, like, Daredevil annual. Yet it's the 3rd part of some story that features Daredevil that I don't want nothing to fucking do with. So I just wanted to ask you, Stu, how did you feel about the idea of annuals? have you ever had any use for them?
They were nice. They were like a bonus present. You know, you get 12 issues of X-Men throughout the year, and then, oh, hey, here's this annual, which is this other story, and it has a whole slew of backup stories, which gives other writers and other artists a chance to shine, see where their talents might come through at. I like the idea of annuals, and despite what I said earlier about the X-Men, if you're going to force a crossover, doing it like that across annuals is the best way to do it, because if you're making 12 different annuals for 12 different characters tell one story, that's different than breaking up the continuity of a book and expecting me to like, oh, now I have to get X-Men number 8 and Excalibur number 9 and Marauders number 7 to get a story. And I don't want to have to do that. But like with the annuals, because the story is pretty much just a bonus, it's just an extra present on top of the book that comes out throughout the year. I think that's the way to do it. You link these stories with backup stories or with crossover stories like that you don't need to get, but if you want to get them, they're there. So I think if you have to do it, that's the way to do it. So I'm actually kind of here for that. I think that's not a terrible idea. And I do miss annuals because you're right. You say annuals and it just brings me back to when I was a little kid and there were like these extra thick comic books that had all these backup stories. And one year in Marvel, every single annual, the backup story was a top 10 list of that hero's worst villains. And I don't know why that has always stuck with me to this day. And then during Atlantis attacks, which took place across the annuals, there was a backup ongoing story, the saga of the Serpent Crown. Yeah, I mean, I kind of liked those when I was a kid.
I remember the Atlantis attacks because I was still, I was probably 14 or 15 when that came out, and I was still reading, and I remember that was coming out across all of the what was it, King Attilian or whatever, and coming out across all the Marvel annuals. Yeah,
but it wasn't interrupting your regular monthly books. So if you didn't want to read that story and you didn't care if you were a Fantastic Four fan and you didn't want to read She-Hulk to see what happened in her issue, you didn't have to. The annuals weren't affecting anything. They were a side story.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, they have come back in like the last probably 8 to 10 years, but it just seems like now it's a lot of ancillary material that you have to read other annuals to get. It's like the idea of what is it, Marvel Legends figures. They came out recently with a Falcon figure, but you have to buy all the figures in the line to get his wings. Like, fuck you. What are you doing?
I never understood that. I guess it's a big thing because it seems to work on people. But yeah, it's like I wanted to buy a toy, but inside the toy comes like Apocalypse's arm. Why do I want that?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Just sit on it, stick on your ass?
I'm not gonna go buy the other ones to complete Apocalypse. I just want that toy.
Well, you never think about it either, too. Like, think about the fact that, okay, so let's say there's 6 toys in the line. You need all 6 to make Apocalypse. These are $20 each. It costs $100 for Apocalypse. Yeah. Like, fuck that. What are you doing to me? All right, you know what? That's it for this episode. I think that was pretty good. I just wanted to get some movie and comic talk with my buddy Stu. But while you're here, Stu, let's talk about SWO Productions and what you got going on over there. And then this episode is coming out next week from recording. So if you want to tell people about the podcast and what episodes might be coming up through the next couple of weeks.
All right. So as of recording, this is June 18th, our current episode. We release episodes on the 1st and the 15th of every month. The current episode is Akira, which I recorded with independent comic creator Mikey Wood. Coming up shortly from when this releases will be the July 1st episode, where I got together with the gentlemen, Ozzy and Scott from the Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC podcast, and we talk about Captain America Civil War. I believe, and boy, me and my schedule and my super organization that I always have, but I believe my July 15th episode is the one with you, where if you want to tell people what we'll be watching, we'll be doing your episode that we recorded a while ago. And so we've got stuff coming out there. And then on the website, we have articles most every day. The 1st through the 28th, I have articles every day because I'm on a calendar. Everybody else does stuff like we release this on Tuesdays. We release this on Wednesdays. I'm number oriented. I'm like, I do this on the 1st, this on the 2nd. And then usually the last couple days of the month, I'll take some time off to write for the next month. But yeah, we've got articles the 1st through 28th of every month. Wrestling reviews, the night that there's a wrestling pay-per-view, instead of having whatever scheduled the next day, I'll review the wrestling pay-per-view. Just all kinds of stuff. John knows I talk about Pop-Tarts.
It's all good. SWOProductions.com. Check it out. And then the next show that he was talking about was Stu and I talking about 2011's MCU Thor, the first Thor.
The first Thor.
Yeah, so join us for that.
The world wasn't dark yet.
No,
Ragnarok wasn't here yet.
No. The whole movie is
just a boy and his hammer.
A boy, his hammer, and the fact that he wants to plow Natalie Portman. That's pretty much the whole fucking movie. Please check out Pint of Comics, obviously here weekly, and check out Lloyd and I, our new podcast over on ForgottenEntertainment.com on the QT, where we talk about the films of Quentin Tarantino.
I'll be on that too.
Yes.
Eventually, not for a few weeks.
We just recorded that one with you, but this week, as of recording, Kill Bill Volume 1 with our buddy Shawnee Mack from HorrorNewsNetwork.net is out. And then, yeah, that's all good stuff. So I'll do the part Lloyd usually does. Stu, thanks for being on.
Thank you so much for having me. I am always happy to be on.
And see ya.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.